Om Sahana Vavatu Sahanao Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavaditamastu ma Vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. So, some more people haven't reached yet. How many more people? Gantavya?
130 people will come.
Most of them have come?
Somewhere between 20 to 30.
Haven't come. Stuck. What shall we do? We'll start. We can't redo, but we can see what we can do.
Share the YouTube.
Yes. You please share the YouTube with them when they come, maybe in the afternoon. Oh, hey, afternoon. Now it looks like Finland. And then we see what happens. How is your place? Full of snow? So we start. Afternoon session, they might be able to make it. So by then, when they come, please share the video so that I don't have to start again. So now we are not doing any Kriya Yoga, no nothing. This is an Upanishad retreat. So we are only going to look into the Upanishads. What are you doing here, Mani? Now here is something important. The entire literature is sacred literature. We have in India, it doesn't mean it's only for Indians, please. It's a universal message from the Upanishads. It so happens that when probably the rest of the world was doing scientific and technological inventions, a group of people sitting in India and trying to find out what's inside. That's the difference. But wisdom, when found, is for everybody. Proof? Loka samasta sukhino bhavantu. Let the entire world be happy. So don't think the Upanishad teachings are only for a particular section of people. It's a universal message, cuts across all differences of you know what. Of course, you need a little bit of a sharp mind. I think we all have sharp minds, right? So that's okay. Let me explain the Upanishad first. Anyway, we have 1 hour in the morning. The rest of the people will come in the afternoon. I was planning to do one Upanishad today, morning, evening, and if it finishes by then, not the knowledge, but the Upanishad, then we can have one more tomorrow. It depends on how it goes. Yes, at the end of it, we can have some questions and answers in the form of the Upanishadic dialogue. So let me first explain. Many people know, but it's good to start with a, what do you call that, a graph, a map. So I'm sure many of you are aware that the most ancient writings in India are called the Vedas, the 4 Vedas. Today everybody says they are among the most ancient. They were not written those days. Writing came much later. People studied by rote. You teach me, I teach somebody else, and so on, it goes on. So there were many schools where the students learned them, and then it was passed down to the next generation. Very late it was written, of course. In Sanskrit, because then Sanskrit was understandable by most people. The other day, there was a death ritual going on in India, and somebody was chanting something that is chanted when somebody is dying or is gone. Not a single person sitting there, including the guy who was chanting, knew what he was chanting. So it's not, don't worry that you're in the West, so I don't know. No. It's also there in our country. In fact, if we knew a little bit of Sanskrit, I'm not saying you should all learn Sanskrit, you would not be misled by frauds. Anyway, so the Vedas are 4 in number. Rig Veda, Yajur Veda, Sama Veda, Atharvana Veda. These are the 4 Vedas. Now, normally when you say Vedas, people think that it's only the first portion, which is called the Samhita. Samhita is also important. One of the most important mantras that we know of today from the Vedas come from the Samhita, Rig Veda Samhita. What is that mantra? The Gayatri. The Rishi is Vishwamitra. Rishi meaning one who figured it out. I wouldn't say invented, but one who figured it out. So, Samhitas are important, but after the Samhita portion, Samhitas are usually chanted, except the Samaveda Samhita, the 3rd Veda, which is sung. Nobody says Sama is chanted. We always say Sama Gayanti, somebody sang the Sama. And it's a very important Upanishad because even in the Gita, when Krishna is talking about his importance, or to Arjuna, when he says, among the mountains I am the Meru, and among the immovables I am the Himachala, among the Munis I am Kapila, and so on. It comes to the Vedas, he says, among the Vedas I am the Samaveda, not Rigveda also. Because Samaveda is the basis of all the musical knowledge that we have, at least in our country. Because it's in the Samaveda that the rishis understood that certain things which cannot be told through prose can be passed on through poetry, also through music, because music is the connecting link between that which is material, strictly material, and that which is beyond. Sound, music. In the beginning was the word. So, anyway, we will come to that later maybe. So of the 4 Vedas, as I said, there is the Samhita portion first. How's your health? How are you doing, your mother?
Very good.
I remember you driving me all the way, all alone, to the UN headquarters from Hague. So anyway, what did I say? No. No. Okay. Okay. Yeah. Sound. No. Okay. Then, so the Samhita portions. After the Samhita comes another portion, which is also the Vedas. It's not excluded, it's all one, called the Brahmanas. The Brahmanas are those portions of the Vedas which generally are ceremonial in nature. How to utilize certain mantras for certain purposes and so on. How to light a fire, how to have a havan and so on. This is the Brahmanas. Then you have the next portion of the Vedas, which is called the Aranyakas. Now, Aranya means a forest. So Aranyakas were those sections of the Vedas which people who retired into the woods to study fully and understand, studied. Now this portion is the Aranyaka. The Upanishads actually fall into this category. If you look, some of the Upanishads are also Aranyakas. If you look at the Aranyaka list, slowly they go into the Upanishad. So, therefore the Upanishads form the last part of the Vedas. When I say Vedas, I am talking about Samhita, Brahmana, Aranyaka, Upanishad. So last part. Because it's in the last, attached to the end, it's called Vedanta. Because in Sanskrit, Anta means end. The end of the Veda is Vedanta. So that portion which is attached to the last portion of the Veda is the Vedanta. So the Upanishads, basically, the content of the Upanishad is Vedanta. Vedanta also has another meaning. Adi Shankara says it is that which, when understood, there is no need for reading anything else. So Veda also means read. Vedanta. Not to discourage you from reading what Shankara said. Now, so this is the situation, this is the position of the Upanishad. Now, throughout the Vedas, there are 4 sentences, 4 mantras, which are called the Mahavakyas, the great words. One of them is Tat Tvamasi. You are that. Prajnanam Brahma. The Supreme Brahman is light and wisdom. Self-effulgent. I am Atma Brahma. My Atman is Brahman. And last one, pretty dangerous one. Aham Brahmasmi. I am the Brahman. Now if that becomes an ego statement, it is pretty dangerous. But if it's really understood in its proper sense, free of all the conditionings, then yes. Which means, according to the Upanishad, there is only the Brahman. Everything else is an appearance. So anyway, so this is the Upanishad. There are 108 Upanishads, including the 20 Yoga Upanishads. In the 20 Yoga Upanishads, you will find all the literature which came later about yoga. The first statements come in the Yoga Upanishads. There are 20 in number. But the most important among the 108 Upanishads are the 10 or 11 principal Upanishads. Some say 10, some say 11, it doesn't matter. 10 principal Upanishads which come first, and they are attached to different Vedas. Like each Samhita, there are a number of Upanishads attached. Some have 2, 3, some have more. And each one has a separate chanting when you start, depending on from which Veda it has been taken. And the chant which I did today is for the Katha Upanishad, which is from the Aittariya Brahmana. So, these are the Upanishads. So we are going to study today one of the principal Upanishads, and if time permits, tomorrow we will do another. What else shall I say? Okay, so let me first explain the Shanti Mantra, the beginning which we chanted now, before we start. Om. You can do without Om also here. Sahana Bhavatu. May you and I be protected. What's the word saha? Not only that I need protection, or you and I. So from the mantra that starts the Upanishad, it's clear that it's a sharing between you and me. It's not I'm saying something and you know what I mean. Most Upanishads are dialogues. And imagine, they are the most ancient. We're talking about an age before the pure Upanishadic truth got clouded later on by various factors. Now, saha, the word sahana bhavatu, sahana bhunaktu, saha, see the word saha, which means two, you and I. So may you and I be protected from, right now physically, the snow and the cold. You must understand, so many of the hermitages were in the Himalayas, so it snows. May be protected from the snows, may we be protected from the vagaries of nature, like earthquake, all those things. And if you sit in a place like that, protected from scorpions and things that wander around also. So, sahana bhavatu, may you and I be protected. Plus, in the mind, may we be protected from thoughts that disrupt our thought process. May we be protected from thoughts that lead us away from the inquiry into the truth. May we be protected against something that appears to be wisdom, but is actually entertainment, and so on and so forth. So protection. You and I. Sahano bhunaktu. May you and I be nourished. First, of course, food, physical food. Cannot underestimate the importance of food. If you don't eat food for many days, even this won't work. In fact, the Vedas declare Annam Brahma. Food is Brahman, among various other things. So, Sahano bhunaktu, may you and I be nourished physically and also nourished mentally, so that we have the right thoughts and not thoughts that lead us astray. May we have thoughts that calm the mind and make it one-pointed, and not thoughts that scatter the mind and break it to pieces. Well, breaking into pieces is not bad, but that's in a different sense altogether. We have a whole today, tomorrow, don't worry. So if I go a little bit into some stories, it may be illustrate what I'm trying to say. So I'll come down to the Upanishad, word by word, don't worry. No, it's not the right time now. Let's go ahead. Okay. So, Sahana bhunaktu, may you and I be nourished with the right kind of inputs, including physical. Saha viryam karavavahai, may the energy, the vitality, virya, in us increase, in you and me. So please, the Upanishadic philosophy is not a pacifist philosophy which says I should be. No, virya is required, vigor is required to understand this. Because it's something very serious and it needs all your energies, mind energy, to put it to one-pointedness. May our vigor increase. It also means physical. Saha viryam karavavahai. Tejasvina vaditamastu. May the illumination of knowledge glow in both of us. Tejas. The light of illumination glow in you and me. Now the last one is interesting. Ma vidvishavahai. maybe not fight with each other. Which simply means that we are going into a dialogue between the teacher and the taught. Not now, if I start a dialogue, it will mostly be the students who are talking. So, Mavidvishavai means we are entering a dialogue, sitting together, trying to understand the truth and not entering into an argument. Now the difference between a dialogue and an argument, in an argument you have already said, yes, this is right. And I have said, no, this is right. Now we can't meet. Dialogue is when you and I sit down quietly in the garden on a bench, not now it's snowing, and say, look, let's look into this truth. Let's figure out what this problem is. Let's work together on this. This is different from an argument. So when they say, Ma vidvishavai, let there be no differences created by our fond prejudices, of which we are very fond of. It's very difficult. It's not so easy. So, this is the mantra with which what we are going to deal later, which is the Upanishad, starts with. Now let me first explain the Upanishad as such, the word. What does it mean? The Upanishad consists of 3 syllables. The first one is Upa, second one is Ni, and the third one is Shad. Upa, Ni, Shad. In this ancient language called Sanskrit, there is no word, there is not even a noun which is not produced out of a verb. Even a noun is from a word of action called a verb. So there is no meaningless noun. Unfortunately, people say it's a dead language. I don't know why. Because it starts, even a noun has a verb in it. There's some action in it. Anyway, so why did I say that?
Three syllables.
No, why did I say this particular?
Sanskrit is not that one. Sanskrit.
Not Sanskrit. I can't go about teaching Sanskrit to you. I must have don't know much.
Meaning of Upanishad.
Now, the word Upanishad.
Your wife didn't come? Where? Oh, sorry. Sometimes you see so many people, So, Upa, Ni, Shad, 3. So let's start with Upa, the first word. Upa means close. Not close, but close. Close together, to come close to each other. Not physically, okay? But come close to each other, to bring your minds together. Putting our minds together may we understand. So, this is something which can be understood only if you go closer. You see, much of the teaching, the essence of the teaching, the Upanishad, is not in the words. It's a state of mind when yours and mine, your mind and my mind, are moving at the same frequency. Something is transferred, which cannot be defined by words. So, for that you require closeness. Please don't misunderstand me. When I'm having tea, don't come close to me. I mean, the mind, the mind close. You use the French word en rapport with each other. So, it also means, as far as the ultimate truth which is described by the Upanishads is concerned, you cannot go, you cannot merge, you cannot go into it, you cannot be it, you can only go as close as you can. It's like going close to the sun. You want to see what the sun, if you go too close, you're burnt. You get what I'm trying to say? Sri Ramakrishna Paramahamsa, the guru of Swami Vivekananda, said that a salt doll, a doll made of salt, went to measure the depth of the ocean. You know what happens to the salt doll that goes? It can go close perhaps and reflect. There is no salt doll. There is only the ocean. Roughly this is what it suggests. Which means, unless the wrong I, which has been put into us, not I. So I don't use iPhones. I'm joking. Been put into us from childhood and even before, many births. When that moves out, then there is place for the ocean. So, upa, you see, in one word, one sound, so many things have been put in. This is the Upanishad. Upa. It also means, it was in those days taught in hermitages, in the forests, in the woods, teacher and taught sitting close to each other. There weren't 100 people, one or two. Because people wouldn't dare to go to understand the truth, because then everything else is gone. Some would say yes, the fearless ones. The Upanishad calls it dhiranam, the courageous ones. Go sit with the teacher. There's no speaker, loudspeaker system, microphone. Sit together and talk, which is why close to each other. It was also called the rahasya, a secret that need not be given to everybody. Because prematurely, if somebody understands Upanishad, they might become atheists. It's not the intention, but. So anyway, upa. We can go on about upa, but I want to stop. Then I will leave the sound ni for the end and go to shad. Shad, in Sanskrit, in the language, it simply means literally sit. Sit down. So now you're all sitting, so I know that you're listening, I hope. So when you stand up, I know attention is gone. So sitting is one of the ways of saying, attention please. Aktum. Sit down. Not in that sense. Sit down together. Settle down your minds. Because you may sit here physically. But your minds. Hey, did you bring your flute? So, to sit also means that the mind has to sit down, to settle down. Not keep, you may sit here but you still be moving now. Complete attention, settling down the mind, sitting down. This is shad. Adi Shankara also said, while commenting on the Upanishads, it's not a question of whether I am Advaitin or a Vishishta Advaitin, this is not the thing, but Shankara was a great man, he wrote a lot of commentaries. So, Shankara said that shad also means to churn, or to, what shall we call it, stir up. Now this has many meanings. One is to stir up or to wake oneself from sleep of ignorance. And churning also means, when you churn something, it reflects the ancient story in India, the Puranas, of the Devas and the Asuras churning the ocean. When they churned the ocean, the first thing that came out was poison. After that came the Amrit, the nectar. So in this churning, sometimes, psychologically also, a little bit of poison may come. There's no other way to get it out. And then you get the Amrit. Now, Amrit is not a nectar made with honey and milk and so on. Amrit, the word means amrita, no death. Not physically, to discover something in us which is deathless because it was not born ever. So, Upanishad. Now there is the ni in the middle. It's not insignificant, it's very important. It connects the two syllables together. It means the position or the attitude with which the student sits down to learn from the teacher. Now, ni means down. We all know in Hindi, niche is down. Ni. So physically we are all right. You are down and I am up. That's not what it means. It means that the student who wants to study the Upanishad should sit with the understanding that I don't know. Now this is very difficult. It's very difficult for even me or somebody to say I don't know. We try to find many ways of filling that gap, but we will not say I don't know because it's terrible to say I don't know. The Upanishad says, he who knows, knows not, and he who knows not, knows. So, ni indicates that the student who begins to learn is sitting down after having put away all the preconceived ideas and things that you're carrying around with you and saying, well, I don't know, let me learn. Now this is difficult, it's not so easy. We all come from different backgrounds, So, when you're going into this Upanishad study, you should say, this is a fresh, I'm going to learn new, I don't have any ideas, let me look into it. This is ni. It also means when I sit down to study the Upanishad, me too, not only you. I'm empty, because if I'm full, nothing else can be put into it. It will overflow. Can you put anything into a vessel which is full? Pour and it overflows. So, clear, there is space. What we're trying to say is that the mind needs space. It's full of things that you learn, that you know the whole thing. And what we are taught, what we learn through birth, also many genetic influences that we have, can we temporarily say, okay, now look at this, even in material sciences, the scientist who discovered something new, discovered it because he was not satisfied with the old, and because he said, maybe this is not true, let me look into this. If you had stayed status quo, you cannot move forward. So Upanishad is a great disruptor, actually. So please, if you don't want the Upanishads, enjoy the snow. But when you know the Upanishads, you can also enjoy the snow better, is my understanding. Anyway, so this is the Upanishad. Is that enough? No. Now, did I miss anything? You should tell me, Hans, they are the guys who always come up with original questions. Have you ever seen the YouTube of Finland talks and discussions? No. Did I miss anything? Good. I was expecting you to say, I think so, I don't know. Good. So there we start. Clean slate. And this is something to be discovered by oneself. It cannot be given by somebody. People even go to weirdest extents, opening their mouth so that somebody can spit into their mouth and then say, oh, I've got all the wisdom. What if the person who spits has a communicable disease? Watch out. Anyway, so we are going to now, therefore, study the Upanishad. And I want to take up first the Kathopanishad. Now, this Kathopanishad comes from the Aitiriya Brahmana, which is part of the Veda, Yajurveda actually, the second Veda, Rig Yajur. And it teaches in a very beautiful way with a little story of a young boy who goes to meet the Lord of Death, Yama, and finds answers to his most important question. So, I brought the Upanishads along, you know why? Because tomorrow somebody may say it's not in the Upanishad, this is his own manufacture. So starting with the mantra we chanted, Sahana Vavatu, Sahana Upanaktu, Sahaviryam Garava, and so on. Chapter 1, section 1. Sometimes when I start, I'll do a little bit of Sanskrit reading and then explain, and then later on, when we won't have much time, I'll just do the English part. Basically because I also like to hear the sound of the language. You might enjoy it, I don't know, we'll see. So here is the first sloka of this Upanishad. Ushana havai vajashravasaha sarva vedasam dadau tasyaha Nachiketa nama putra asa. No. Desirous of the fruit of the Vishwajit sacrifice, a particular sacrifice or a particular havan or a Vedic ritual, which promises Vishwajit, which means that after this you have won the universe almost. It means you have everything that you want. This is called the Vishwajit sacrifice, in which a fire is lit and various things are, and so on. So Vajasravasa was a great man, a rishi, who performed the Vishwajit sacrifice to attain, to win the universe, all that is in the universe. So for that, any sacrifice means you have to give something, right, before anything comes back. So in the Vishwajit sacrifice, you are supposed to give everything away and then gain the universe. Anybody who needs to get something needs to do some sacrifice. You cannot say everything is hunky-dory, no, not possible. So he said, I will give away everything and attain Vishwajit. Now he had a son, a little fellow, 8 years old. by name Nachiketas. Now you should also understand the Sanskrit meaning of the word Nachiketas. Nachiketa means Nachiketa, one who does not know. Good starting point. Nachiketa was watching all this happening. His father was supposed to be doing the sacrifice. After that, the Brahmins who came to perform the sacrifice were leaving, and he was supposed to give away everything to them as gifts, sacrifice. That's an important part of sacrifice, to give away. Tam akumaram shantam dakshinasu niyamanasu shraddha vishesha somanyata. As the gifts were being given away, were taken by the priests, intelligence entered into the mind of Nachiketas. Some people, Shraddha is translated as faith, as one-pointed attention, as intuition, both, all three. Shraddha. Sanskrit is a language with multiple meanings for one word, Shraddha. Here I would say intelligence entered into his head, and he said, and he thought, though a mere boy, he thought to himself. What did he think? Pitodaka jagdatrina dugdadoha nirindriyaha anandana mate lokas tansagachata tadadhat. Their water drunk, their grass eaten, their milk milked, which means no more milk left in the cows that were being gifted. Their strength spent. He said to himself, what kind of a sacrifice is this? What is my father giving away? Cows which are useless to him, which no more give milk, who have not eaten enough, who have nothing left in them, no energy left in them. What is the use of giving away something like that as a sacrifice? It's like I give away what I don't need, which I cannot use. That's not a sacrifice. And then what is his father trying to win? The universe, by giving away all these things. So this idea entered into the young boy's mind. How can my father, giving away all these things which are useless and dry and of no use, enter? Get Vishwajit. What kind of a giving away is it? What kind of a sacrifice is this? This thought entered into his mind, and he said to himself, he who gives away such gifts goes to miserable worlds, cannot be in good places, but miserable worlds. Then he said to his father, he summoned up enough energy to talk to him. And he said, Sa hovacha pitaram. So he said to his father, Tata kasmai mam dasyassiti. Dvitiyam tritiyam. 3 times he asked his father, not once. I am your nearest and the dearest, your most valuable possession. Who will you give me to? All these useless things you're giving away. I am your dearest and most valuable possession. Whom will you give me to? Not once. He asked him 3 times. And it is said that Dad, Rishi Vajrasravasa, said, I will give you away to death. Now there are 2 interpretations. Some say he got angry and said, I am giving him away to death. How come you questioned me? A little chit of a boy, so I give you away to death. I do not agree with this. I think Vajrasravasa was quite a developed guy. He understood what his son was asking, and he thought he should learn the truth and the truth he would learn from the Lord of Death himself. So he said, I give you away to death. Now what happens? Yama, Nachiketa is asking himself, what duty is my father trying to achieve by giving me away like this to death? Saying so, he departs. मर गया. And he's also, Nachiketa says, Anupashya yatha purve pratipashya tatha pure sasyam eva martya pachyate sasyam eva jayate punaha. He says, okay, I will go to death. It's like normally what happens. My forefathers also died. Nobody is alive forever. When corn ripens, it's used or it falls. New corn is created again. In the same way, let me go. Peacefully he departs. It's like a traveling Sufi once went to a king's palace. And the king welcomed him, made him sit down, and so on. Offered him rose water. And then he asked him, how do you like my palace, my throne? Magnificent, right? Sufi said, which throne, which palace? I can only see a caravan. He said, caravan? This is my palace. I built it with great... Yeah, but who built it? He said, 4 generations before. And before you, who lived here? My father, the king. Before my grandfather, the king. Before him, my great-grandfather. It still appears like a caravan to me. It's there and you're coming and going. First he lived, then he went. In the same way. Says Nachiketa to himself, okay, I have been given to the Lord of Death, so be it. It happens to everybody. My forefathers have gone. The corn ripens and falls, a new corn is created. This is life. Cycle of birth and death, so let me go. So he goes. Now there is a problem here. This is sudden. It's not in the natural course of events. That Vajrasravasa says, go to death, and he's gone. Even the Lord of Death, Yama, doesn't know that this is happening suddenly. He has gone to bring some other soul somewhere. Story, okay. So this poor Nachiketa, this young boy, this young brahmachari, with his face shining with tejas, ready to learn, who's brave enough to ask his father, whom will you give me to? Goes to Yama's waiting room and waits for 3 days because Yama has gone somewhere else. Bring some soul. He sits waiting in his studio. Yama comes after 3 days and he is very agitated. Yama says, my God, 3 days you have waited here. I have not asked you whether you need water. I have not asked you if you are hungry. I have not looked after Lord of Death. Atiti Devo Bhava, guest is God. How can this happen? I'm so sorry. Forgive me. Oh, young man with a shining face. Oh, brahmachari. Says Yama, the Lord of Death. And Yama says, if you treat a guest as I have treated one, and that too, a young man with a face shining, the glow of trying to understand the truth, if you treat anybody like this, hope and expectation, friendship and joy, sacrifices and good works, sons, wealth, all will be taken away from a person of less understanding, in whose house a seeker, Brahmana, remains unfit. So, then said Yama to this young Nachiketas, since you, a guest, that too a respected guest, one whose face is shining with the desire for learning the truth, a brahmachari, since you have stayed as an atiti, as a guest, in my house, without food, even without water for 3 nights, I bow down to you, Lord of Death. I make obeisance to you. Namaste astu Brahmana, I said, I bow down to you. Therefore, may all be well with me, don't curse me. May I be okay. In return, that you have waited for 3 nights without my looking after you, I am ready to give you 3 boons that you ask for. Boons, B-O-O-N-S. Boon. What is another word for boon? Boon? Wish. So, I am ready to grant 3 of your wishes, whatever you want, to compensate for making you wait for 3 days and 3 nights in my house without being looked after. Just imagine this. This is Yama, the Lord of Death, who is now going to be Nachiketa's teacher, who is saying this to this little boy of 8. Yama, the Lord of Death. So if you see a teacher who has no concern for others, or who doesn't like, he wants everybody to bow to him or her, but cannot bow down to somebody else, cannot be a true teacher. If Yama, who is here the teacher, says Namaste to Nachiketas, it shows that even the great Yama has no arrogance. Instead of that, suppose Yama had reacted, say, hey, who asked you to come here? I didn't know you did. Shut up. No, I'm sorry. Let me teach you. One of the signs of understanding is humility. You know how humility comes? It's not cultivated. It comes when you know that you don't know. And therefore you know. Anyway. So, choose 3 gifts which I shall give you. First gift, which Nachiketas mourns, that Gautama, my father, Gautama is a word used for all wise men, not Gautama the Buddha here, meaning Vajashravasa, my father. May Vajashravasa, my father, without anxiety, his anxiety allayed, with his anger gone, may he be gracious to me for death, and recognizing me, greet me when you set me free. Which means he knows that he is going to set him free. This I choose as the first gift, like a simple boy, a young boy, who says, please, may my father forgive me for asking such questions. When I go back, may he welcome me, may he not be anxious, may he not be angry. Now there is one word which says, may he recognize me. Why wouldn't he recognize his own son? Now the commentators have Late comers, please come. Sorry, not in your hands. So what did I say?
Recognizes father.
Huh?
Recognizes
Why? Because what he is going to learn from Yama is going to bring about a big change in him. And when this happens, I don't know how whatever, if this happens, even the cells in the body change. So maybe if he goes back with a shining face, Father, who is this boy now? So he says, please, may he recognize me. May he not also be angry with me. When I go back, may he welcome me. This is my first gift which I ask of you. Give it a simple gift like a young boy would ask. Yama said, granted. As of old, will he recognize you? Through my favor, even now, don't worry, he will sleep peacefully. His anger gone. Seeing you released from the jaws of death, he would actually be happy. Because he knows where you are coming from. You have come to visit me, the Lord of Death, freed from the jaws of death. When you reach, of course he will be happy. Meanwhile, I will make sure that he sleeps well. So go, don't worry about that. This gift is granted. Now the second gift. Nachiketa decided, since Yama has said, I will give you the 3 gifts, let's take advantage of that. He said, second gift. Swarge loke na bhayam kim cha nasti na tatra, sorry. Nachiketa said, in the world of heaven, I have heard, there is no fear whatsoever because you don't come visiting there. There is no old age. There is no hunger and thirst because the things in the so-called heaven world are not material. One rejoices in the world of heaven. This is what I have heard. But what he didn't add was, according to the teachings, one enjoys all the fruits of one's good actions in this life in a plane called heaven. And then one comes back, of course, into this world to work out the rest of one's life's ambitions and so on, desires. But we are now talking about that interim period called heaven, which a human being actually experiences every day in some way. Can you tell me how? The Gayatri Mantra starts with 3 mystic syllables. First, then comes the mantra. Om, of course. Bhur bhuvasva. Bhuloka, plane of waking state, existence. Bhuvaloka, the dream state, which is also a world. And Swarga, Swa, Bhur bhuvasva. Please, Gayatri, the right way is Swa, not Swaha. Swaha is at the end of a mantra, it means over, finished. Amen. But here it's Swa. Bhur bhuvasva. Swarga. This Swarga, this heaven, we all experience daily. Deep sleep, there is no fear of death, nobody comes, it's beautiful, it's nice. Of course, you realize how blissful it is only when you wake up. It was when you wake up. In deep sleep you don't see it, of course, but that's heaven. There are no karmas, there is no bondage. In fact, you don't even know that you exist. Here, Nachiketa is asking him, that when the soul or the subtle body clothed leaves the physical body, they say that they enjoy in a heavenly plane all the good fruits of one's good actions, where you don't visit, you don't come. Because it's not a physical body, so it does not die. And there is joy. Can you tell me about that? Can you please teach me about that? You know, O death, the fire sacrifice, which is the aid to heaven, how to reach that heavenly plane. Describe it to me. I am full of faith. How the dwellers in heaven live without your fear. This I choose as my second boon. The second boon. The second gift. Now Yama describes to him that fire sacrifice which leads one to the heavenly state of happiness. Not the ultimate truth, but the heavenly state of happiness. The Upanishad is absolutely clear that the heavenly state of happiness is not the absolute truth. But since the question is there, so Yama is answering. Yama said, I know well what that fire sacrifice is. It's an aid to reach heaven. I shall describe it to you. Learn it from me, O Nachiketas. Know that fire to be the means of attaining boundless world, but it also abides in the secret place of your heart. After describing everything, Yama says, Tvam etam nihitam guhayam. While it's a world called heaven, which you might think is in a different realm, actually it resides in your heart, in secret. So I will teach you how to touch it. I will teach you what you should do, how you should do. I will explain the act, fully to you, how to get there. So Yama described to him that fire sacrifice, what kind of bricks are to be laid, which means what are the rules and regulations, yamas and niyamas, what manner it should be used. And Nachiketa has repeated everything so that he won't forget. And then, pleased with this, Death spoke again. Now, two things to remember. To reach that place of happiness called the heavenly world, when you leave this body, at that point when you leave, you should think that it is right there in the secret recesses of your heart. And then it's nowhere to search for. And then when you do that, then the fire is lit. And the fire, according to us, is lit in the Nabhi. This fire burns to ashes all the bad karmas, and the good karmas are rewarded in that state, which is equivalent to sleep, except that there you also are aware of it. Beautiful enjoyment. But then, that's not the end. Then one comes back after they're exhausted, the fruits, back into the earth, because there are still desires to be fulfilled. But this which you asked, I have taught you. It's here in the recesses of your heart, and it's the fire of desire for that is lit inside you that takes you there. Not only that. Yama was very delighted that he had found such a good student. So he said to him, I will give you an extra gift today, an extra boon. What's that? This sacrifice, which takes you to the heavenly abode, shall from now be known by your name. The Nachiketa sacrifice. It's called the Nachiketa Yajna, by which one goes, and if one is happy with that, it is all right. Fine. But Nachiketa is not. He's asking for a third gift. Normally one would say, lovely, that's enough. Happiness here, happiness there. Nachiketa is not made of that stuff. Because even in that heavenly world, one comes back to this earth. He is looking for something where there is no going off or coming back or anything of that kind. So then there is a description of the lighting the Nachiketa fire thrice, which has been explained by the commentators as Shravana, Manana and Nididhyasa. Shravana means listening to what is being taught. Manana is thinking about it, the three fires. And third is Nididhyasa, to understand it. Through hearing, through ruminating on it, and through understanding. Through that, to understand. When this happens, one crosses over into that heavenly world and obtains peace and happiness. The wise who understands this sacrifice that leads to heaven, Shravana, Manana, Nididhyasa, performs meditation and breaks free of the bonds of pain and rejoices in the world of heaven. Then says Yama, since I am very happy with you being an ideal student, I will also give you another boon, another gift, and this is this sacrifice or this teaching or this method which I described to you, O Nachiketas, that leads to heaven, which you asked as the second gift. From now on, it will be known by your name. From now on, anybody who refers to this will say it is the Nachiketa sacrifice, the Nachiketa yajna. This is the extra bonus that I am giving you. Now choose the third. Choose the third boon, which I said I will give you. So now comes the third boon that Nachiketa asks. Nachiketa says, this is the thing I really want to know. Some say, Yayam prete visikitsa manushye astiti ekanayam astiti chaike. There is this doubt in regard to a person who is supposed to have died, has departed. Some say that's the end. He's not. Like the stopping of a watch. He didn't say watch, I am saying. Some say no, it's not over. Body is dead, but it's not over. What do you say? I would like to know from you. Some say with death everything is over. Some say no, there's something that remains. Would you answer this question? This is the third gift I ask for. Who else would know it better than you, the Lord of Death? Answer this question to me. Not only that, is there some element in me which is not born and therefore cannot die when the body dies? Is there something in me? Answer this question. This is my third gift that I ask. You promised. If the body is gone, is there something in me that is immortal? Why? Because it was never born. and therefore cannot die. Anything that is created, born, has to go. This is the third boon I ask. If there is, how do I find it? Where is it? What element of me is this? Now comes the problem. Yama says, my dear boy, even the gods of old had doubt about this. Come. Even the lords of old, the gods of old had doubt on this point. It is not easy to understand. It's very subtle. It's a subtle truth. So please, may I request you, choose another boon, another gift. Don't press me. Release me from this. Yama, the Lord of Death, saying to Nachiketas, this even the gods of old did not know. They had doubts about this. It's not easy to understand. So can we skip? Ask for another gift. Can we move? So you see what Nachiketa answers. Testing. Where did it go? Nachiketa said, so, even if the gods had doubts regarding that, and you, O Lord of Death, is saying it's not easy to understand, but where can I find another teacher like you? So no other gift do I want. Now please understand, Yama said he has led him up to that level where he can be in heaven and enjoy. But he says, no, I want to know what is that element in me that is neither born and therefore never dies and which is immortal. This is what I would like to know. And Yama said, no, this is difficult, I can't tell you. And he tries to tempt him with everything possible. Ask for something else. Now this is interesting. Suppose you come to me and say, I want moksha. I can't give you moksha, it can't be given. Like, suppose you say, that's what I'm interested in. I say, that is not so easy. It's a difficult process. Many people have. So, my what is that? My Rolls Royce Silver Ghost is parked there. Here is the key. Don't ask me, take this and go. Now, how many people would say, no, I don't want this. I'll also add, the papers will also come later, don't worry. But don't ask me about this. How many? So Nachiketa is the ideal student. And Yama wants to make sure that he is actually looking for it and not anything else. And when he's sure, then you give to him. So see how Nachiketa is being tempted by Yama, which normally everybody falls to. I am aiming for Kaivalya. I am reading the Yoga Sutras. I am aiming for Kaivalya. Then I came to the third chapter called Vibhuti-pada. I'm stuck. Right? Vibhuti-pada, I can fly in the air, I can walk in the water, whatever is written. I'm not saying I can do it, and so on. And then, who wants Kaivalya? So I would rather have this, right? One gets caught, attracted by it, and gets stuck there. Or somebody says, no, you chant this mantra, then the Devi will come and give. Moksha is gone. There are shortcuts now. Go to YouTube. 3 days you can learn all the mantras of the Saundari Lady, and then everything will happen to you. I want to give you a warning. There are many YouTubes which say that yes, it is like that, but Sri M knows me. I don't know anybody, okay? I don't know any of these guys. Or guys or guysies, I don't know, whatever. So anyway, let's see what Yama is offering Nachiketa. Yama says to Nachiketa, choose sons and grandsons who will live 100 years. Choose cattle in plenty. Those days cattle was associated with wealth. Choose cattle in plenty, elephants, gold, horses. Choose vast expanses of land, even to beat Texas. And life for thyself for as many years as you want to live. Choose all this. I'm ready to give you. Don't ask me this question. Please let me go. Then, if you want any boon, choose long life, wealth, prosper on these. I will give you wealth as much as Kubera. Kubera is supposed to be the lord of wealth. I will make you an enjoyer of all these desires. Which means whatever spiritual entertainment is there, I will give it to you. Whatever desires are hard to attain in this world of mortals, ask for all these desires as you want. There are noble maidens. Maidens are also nice. With chariots and musical instruments. There's also a whole band. The like of which cannot ever be seen by ordinary men. Be served by all these damsels, whom I give to thee. Nachiketa, just don't ask me about this. What you asked me just now. What does Nachiketa say? Nachiketa says, Swabhava martyasya. Transient are these, and they all die out. What you're offering me, O Yama, they're so transient. They don't last. They all die out. And also, you said you will give me damsels. The vigor of men and the senses of men also die out. What will I do after that? All life is brief anyway. So, keep your chariots and your bands with you. He actually says that. Eva tvaiva vahas tava nritya gite. Keep your song and dance with you. I don't want these things. I still stick to this. Tell me, is there an element in me which is never born and therefore cannot die, which you cannot rule there anymore? Human beings are not to be contented with wealth. Shall we enjoy wealth when you have come face to face with death like I am? Of what use is wealth? Shall we live as long as you are in power? As long as you, the Lord of Death, holds his sway, how can we live? Anytime we can be snuffed out. So, keep your song and dance with you, sir. This alone is the boon chosen by me. Tell me, is there something in me, an element, that is neither born and therefore cannot die. Of course, later on Yama says it is also blissful in nature. But this is the question right now. Then says Nachiketa, having approached the undecaying immortality, what decaying mortal on this earth who meditates on the things of the senses and the pleasures and beauty of all will delight in a long life? What is the use? Having approached death and seen that you can come at any time, you give me all this, how will I enjoy it in this short life of mine? So, no, I don't want it. I want what I asked for, nothing but the truth. Now, a seeker who is searching for the truth in the Upanishads is like Nachiketa. Split second is done. So, that we will look at when we come back. He says, tell us about which there is no doubt, O death. What is that thing that is passing on and what is the thing that remains? This boon which penetrates the mystery, no other do I ask. I, Nachiketa. So, poor Yama, you compare this Nachiketa with the Lord of Death Yama, you can say poor Yama. Says, okay, I have tested you enough. You will not be satisfied with anything else. Let me teach you or take you towards that. And that is the rest of the Upanishad. It's 12 o'clock. We started half an hour late, so half an hour more. You know why? Also, beyond an hour and a half, this is a thing that cannot stay with the mind. You can't tire your mind with it. Sufficient unto the day is the evil thereof. So, we come back in the afternoon and then go to what Yama is trying to teach Nachiketa. So, on a lighter vein, has everybody come or some still remain?
Something maybe 6 people arrived if I'm not wrong, so
Okay.
few more.
That should be, by noon they should be all. Now what do I do? I can't repeat.
So this will be there, we have a lot of clips as well.
Okay. YouTube is no good as iTunes. But anyway. We'll do the best, yeah. So thank you. Please protect yourself, cold day, minus. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om Tat Sat.